guys, how's it going? It's Janie over here at JaniesSweets, and in this episode I'm coming at you with a tutorial on how I made this super simple cake inspired by the Beatles. So if you want to learn how I did this, keep on watching. Starting out with white fondant that I'm going to roll out pretty thinly, and then I'm going to cover an 8-inch cake with that fondant. Now I'm going to smooth out all of the seams with my hands, with the palm of my hands, doing my best to make sure that there are no crease on the cake, and then I'm going to cut off all of the excess with a pizza cutter. Once I'm done, I'm going to use my fondant smoothers to smooth everything out and create those sharp corners that I like. Now, a very cool trick that I found is that I printed out the silhouette of the men on the Beatles album as well as the actual name, and then I traced it out onto a piece of parchment paper as well as an electric guitar. Now I'm going to roll out some black fondant, cover it with Crisco or vegetable shortening, and then stick on the parchment paper. Now I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to trace over everywhere that I've outlined so that it can cut it out for me. Now once you've removed them from the other piece of fondant, make sure that there are no sharp corners. Smooth it out with your fingers as best as you can. I'm also going to do the same thing for the electric guitar shape as well as the letters for the Beatles sign. Now once I was done, this is how everything turned out. Now I'm going to use a piece of white fondant to cover a board, and then I'm going to cut off all the excess with my blade. I'm going to cut that piece of fondant in half because I want to cover the board half with white and then the other half with gray. So I'm just going to join them at the seam and then cut off the excess, and then I'm going to roll it onto itself just so that it can join together. Now I'm going to cut off the excess with my X-Acto knife or with my sharp knife. And then I'm going to place my cake right on top. Now you can start gluing on the silhouettes one by one. I'm just looking or referencing a picture of what the album looks like so that I can start putting them all over. And then I'm going to place the guitar and the letters right at the top. Once I was done, I'm going to cut out a part, that white part of the guitar with a piece of white fondant. And then I'm going to place it right on top, right like this. And then I'm going to also place another white strip at the top here. And then dye it or paint it with my silver luster dust. And I'm just using the luster dust to create the shapes of what a guitar would look like. And then I'm also using an edible food marker to create the rest of the details. And once I was done, this is what it looked like. Now underneath each foot or each feet of my characters, I'm going to place a strip of white fondant. It doesn't have to be exact. You just want to have just a strip of white fondant there. Now I'm using my hot glue gun to glue a ribbon on the board, and then interchanging between black and white, I'm going to place little balls of fondant at the bottom to create a border. And then this here is just a star cutter. I'm using it to just place stars all over the cake because it kind of looks plain. Now once I was done, I'm just going to airbrush it with my airbrush machine in some water just to remove any excess cornstarch that I may have left on there. And once I was done, this is it, you guys. This is how you create a super easy Beatles inspired cake. I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and families. As always, you can check out my last video by clicking on this annotation to your left. I am on Instagram as well as on Facebook. All of my socials are at JanieSweets. Subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss out on any of my future videos. And that is it for this week's tutorial, guys. I love you. Talk to you next time.